a brother from the Rebbe. He gave to a friend of mine in Yechidus. He was newly married. His wife was expecting their first child. He asked for blessings for the child, a whole shopping list of things that he wanted. He hoped his child would achieve. And the Rebbe just said to him, you should merit to raise your children together with your wife in a good mood. And he exclaimed, is that all? What about the whole shopping list? The qualities that he had asked for. Munah, betochen, confidence, ava, everything. Hasidus, scholarship, health. Rebbe just repeated himself. You should merit to raise your children together with your wife in a good mood. Oh, he went out, he felt cheated. He came to the Rebbe for brachas, and all he got was a good mood. Then as they were walking home, he said to his wife, he says, his name is Gittel, Gittel? Looks like the Rebbe thinks we're going to stay together. He said, together with your wife. And he really gave us a bracha for a lot of children. He said, for your children, didn't say for your child, ask for a child. He gave us a bracha for children. And I guess life has a lot of ups and downs, but he gave us a bracha that should be in a good mood. So I like to share that bracha because it's a very big one. In Hebrew, I think the words for a good mood would be b'simcha v'tuv levo. The joy and a full heart. In a good mood. Rivka, how are you today? I love it. Chapter 20. Okay, the president said he's going to put an end to war. Not going to win the war, he's going to put an end to war. Let's hope. Lam natseya mizmar l'David yancha Adonai b'imtzara yisagev Hashem Elohei Yankeh v'yishlach ezocha mekaydesh. Read the English. For may he remember all your offerings and always accept favorably your sacrifices. See, Hashem speaks English. May he grant you your heart's desires and fulfill your every counsel. That means fulfill your good resolutions. Are we making good resolutions? Remember Bracha Reina. Look up at the sky. Another beautiful day. Unbelievable weather. Unbelievable. Middle of November, 70 degrees out. May he grant you your heart's desires. Yep. We will rejoice. Let us rejoice in your salvation. It says here in English, deliverance. What's deliverance? Man delivers the groceries. Hashem delivers the blessings of redemption. And raise our banners in the name of our God. May the Lord fulfill all your wishes. Now I know that Hashem has delivered his anointed one. That means saved. David says, I thank you, Hashem. You saved my life again and again. Answering him from his holy heavens with the mighty saving power of his right hand. Well, mighty power is in the left hand. And the saving power is in the right hand. Hashem can do both together. Some rely on chariots, some upon horses. We rely upon the name of the Lord our God. They, the enemies, bend and fall. We rise and stand firm all these years. Hashem deliver us. May the King answer us on the day we call. Okay. Miss Andrea is on the Zoom.
Hello, Mr. Pape.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Everybody wishes you hi. Andrea, we just today, but here you are today.
Yeah, I need to be in work.
Okay, now, what's your name, Miss?
Georgina.
Say again?
Georgina.
Jordina.
Yes.
Jordina.
Yeah.
And what's your last name? Are you joining this class
Yes, just on Thursday.
just on Thursdays?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're supposed to
And not Fridays.
not Friday.
Okay, Jordina. What's your last name?
January. Like J
J
A
A
M
M
R
R
O
O
N.
N. Jamra. Okay. Rivka is here. Petra is here. Hannah is here. Tanya, chapter 2. Okay, we came up yesterday, we came across this extraordinary piece of information that they never told you in high school, that the thought, children are born from the thought of the father who wants to have a family. And why does he want to have a family? Because his wife wants to have a family. And that inspires him with the desire to have a family. So the thought is father of the child. And then the Alter Rebbe said something amazing, which is that we can understand that the thought inspires the child because the father gives just a little drop, and over 9 months that becomes a whole embryo with 248 limbs and 365 sinews and vein systems and everything, a whole human being with a life. What kind of life? Nefesh, basic human life. Okay. And what's that child doing during the 9 months? The Medrash tells us another amazing thing. It tells us that if the child is a Jewish child, the angels, there are angels or even an angel that comes and teaches this child Torah for 9 months. So now what we're learning now is something we already know. We've learned this all before. So how come we didn't remember it? Because when the child is born, the child cries, right? Some people think because the doctor smacks the child in the tush. No. The child has an angel that comes and smacks the child under his nose. That's why you have this under your nose. And the child blacks out and forgets everything. So when you come to Machon Liyadus, and you're relearning what you already know. They didn't tell you that. It's in the Medrash. Hashem told us that at Mount Sinai. So we can understand that the thought of the father inspires this whole business until the doctor gives the smack. So the angel, it's not the doctor, so the angel gives the smack under the nose. You see stars. When someone hits you in the nose, you see stars. Why? Because that's where your life comes into you. It said, when your life comes into you through your nose, 100%. It says so in the Torah. Hashem breathed a living soul into the nostrils of Adam Rishon, of the first man. So that's why I get a good punch in the nose, heaven forbid. You see stars. You don't see the world anymore. It's like it knocks the life out of you. Good punch in the nose knocks the person out. A friend of mine told me his grandfather used to always tell him when he was a little boy, you have to give the Yetzer Hara a good punch in the nose. How do you do that? By remembering to say a bracha before you eat, by remembering to say a bracha after you eat, with a smile and a helping hand and a pasuk Torah. There's so many psukim in the Torah. So the Rebbe gave us 12 psukim to learn by heart. I'll bring into for all of you booklets with the 12 psukim that the Rebbe taught. You can start working on them. Learn them by heart. And I want to tell you something. When you have a crossroads in life and you don't know which way to go, you hear? You don't know which way to go. You learn these 12 psukim. By the time you get to the end, you'll know where you're heading. You'll know where you're heading. The Rebbe chose these 12 psukim because they contain within them the essence of Jewish knowledge, what we have to know. And one of the first of these psukim tells us that we have a neshama. And another one tells us what we learned in this week's parsha, which is that there's one God. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. So when we're undecided and confused, that's the first thing we have to remember. And that we have a covenant. When did we get a neshama? When did the neshama come into us? When we made a covenant with God. We became blood brothers, soul brothers, soul brother. That's what they say on the street. How you doing, brother? We are soul brothers with Hashem. That means He is in us all the time, no matter where we go, no matter what we do. And this is what we learned yesterday. Excuse me. That page 58, even now in the child continues to receive his life and nourishment from the brain that is in the head. And the author doesn't say whose head. His father's head, his grandfather's head, his great-grandfather's head, his own father's head, his own head. All of them, all of the above are correct because they're all connected. The life that I get from my father, he got from his father, he got from his father, he got from his father. Which we all got from our fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, our mothers. Continuing on page 58 now, towards the bottom, like it says in the Talmud, Nida. This is the second time we're seeing the Gemara, the Talmud on Nida. The first time, you may not remember, was the first line of the Talmud. It says, we learned in the Talmud, about Nida, that before a child is born, angels come in the name of God and administer an oath to the child. You want to go on to, where did you want to go into this world? And you said, yes. So the angel came to where all the souls were gathered. And he said, who wants to go down to this world? Every single one of you raised your hand and waved it and said, you made noises. Ooh, ooh. Choose me, I want to go. Why do you want to go? I want to light a Shabbos candle. I want to have a Jewish home. I want to have Jewish children. I want to have a mezuzah on my door. Da 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 da. Okay? So okay. You promise that you're going to be a good girl? Yes. That's what it said, the first line of the Talmud. But the angel said, but you got to know, it's going to be up here, it's very light. It's very beautiful. Like when you go on the airplane, you're 6,000 feet up, it's gorgeous. And you look down and it's raining. In New York, it's raining, and it's cold, and I'm still dressed like for Israel. Yeah, it's cold, and wet, and damp, windy. You sure you want to go? Well, it's too late. You already said yes. So now you know you're going down there. You better swear that you're going to be good. You're going to keep your word, and you're going to be good, and not do anything bad. Okay. You don't swear those two oaths, and you don't get to go. So that's the first place that we learn niddah. That's in the Talmud called niddah. What's niddah about? Niddah is about the menstrual period in a woman's life and the laws governing the family. How to set up your family, when it's good to be together and when it's not good to be together. What's the holy way to bring children into the world, and what's the opposite? So that's the first place we saw niddah. Now again, the more about niddah is about bringing life into the world. What a holy, holy piece of wisdom. Unbelievable. Like I said to you before, in grade 8 health, they didn't teach you this stuff. Not in my grade 8 health classes. So it says there in the Gemara in Niddah, page 58, from the whiteness of the father's drop of semen are formed the sinews and the bones and the teeth and the fingernails and the toenails. They're all white. Now here, I have a question, and I can't answer this question. It's a question. Because the word for sinews is the same used for the word veins. The veins convey the blood in the flesh. The flesh comes from the mother. The life comes from the mother. That's why Jewish mothers have Jewish children, and non-Jewish mothers don't have Jewish children. The life, the holy neshama, is conveyed to us through the mother. So he translates the word for sinews. Sinews connect the muscles to the bones. They're not edible. You can't eat the sinew. They're tough. You know, when you want to lift your arm like this, what enables you to lift your arm? Well, there's a connect. You have muscle here, but this muscle can't lift the arm. This muscle pulls on the sinew. The sinew is connected from the muscle to the bone, and that pulls your arm up. So all that comes from the whiteness of the father's drop of semen. And we understand that before the child is born, for 9 months of gestation, when the child is developing. And here the new idea is that it continues to be connected. Now, how do we know that even the sinews, even the fingernails are connected to the whiteness of the brain? Because now he turns to a book of mysticism called The Tree of Life. The Tree of Life, I'll write this down. You have to know this. It's very important. We have to know where the information is coming from. The Tree of Life is given to us by a man named Chaim, which means life. Very often, great scholars from our people, they write down their knowledge, and when they gather it into a book, they put their name in the book. And where did they get their name? From a pasuk in the Torah. So his name was Chaim, and he wrote a book called The Tree of Chaim, the Tree of Life. We know that in the Garden of Eden, Hashem planted 2 trees. One was the tree of life, and one was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So his book is called The Tree of Life, and his name is Chaim Vital, Rabbi Chaim Vital, V-I-T-A-L, Vital, write it down. Chaim Vital. It's a very popular name amongst the Jews from Syria. I had 2 students in my teaching days, cousins. They were both called Chaim Vital. They also had an English name, Richard Chaim Vital, and they became doctors. And interesting enough, one of them became a gynecologist and delivered one of my children. I knew him as a student, and he delivered my son. And his cousin became big in the field of fertility and infertility, helping people to have families. Both of them called Chaim, life. Isn't that interesting? Shem runs the world. So in this book called Eitz Chaim, in the chapter called Lightning, the gate of lightning, or the gate of electricity, Shar HaChashmal, it says there that when Adam Arishan was created and he was placed in the Garden of Eden, what did he wear? You never thought to ask. Never occurred to you. But it's a good question. What did he wear? Painters struggle with this. They sort of hide them behind trees, bushes. It says they ate from the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and they realized, uh-oh, we did something evil. They never knew it was evil before. They suddenly became self-conscious. Like, remember I told you about my 11-year-old cousin who told me, guess what? I realized that I think. That is an intellectual development of self-consciousness, which a child in his or her innocence doesn't have. And they didn't have it until they ate from that fruit. Now they had it, now they knew that there was good and they knew there was evil, and that was the beginning of the problems, because once they knew that there was good and there was evil, so there was always a temptation to do the not good and the struggle to do the good. So there in this book, it says that his garments, so he saw Adam and Chava ate from the fruit, and they saw they were naked. They didn't have clothing. What do you mean they were naked? Why did they realize they were naked? What made them realize that they didn't have clothing? The answer is because clothing is a metaphor. Clothing is a metaphor that comes with shame. Why were they ashamed? Because they disobeyed their father, Hashem. Hashem leaves a child alone in the house. The father leaves the child alone in the house and says, you can, eat anything in the fridge, but don't touch the ice cream. We're having guests tonight. Don't touch the ice cream. The child sees the ice cream in the fridge and it looks so delicious. And he just take a little bit, just a teaspoonful. So good. Another one. Father comes home. Who ate the ice cream? Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Who did this? So the little child said, I did. It's a shame. So this whole concept of shame, where does it come from? It comes from rebellion and disobeying. Not listening comes with a sense of shame. So they felt a sense of shame because they didn't listen. So the not having clothes came from their disobeying the only commandment they had. So the sages say, yes, they were naked. What were they naked? Not from clothes. They were naked they had one commandment and they broke it. They just had one commandment. Don't eat the fruit of tree of knowledge. Or the tree of life. Don't eat either of these fruits. And they did. So Hashem said, okay, out of the garden. Because he was going to leave them, they'd eat from the tree of life too, and then they would live forever. And they were now the fruit of not listening, of rebellion, the fruit of shame was coursing in their veins, was in their blood. It turned to blood. And the blood goes everywhere. Prick your little toe with a needle and the blood comes out. The blood is you. The blood is the life. And their blood was now contaminated, radioactive. We're in trouble. So Hashem had to give them clothes. Did they have clothes in the first place? I can't answer that question. But it says here in the book that we're looking at, page 58, in the Tree of Life, it says that the original clothes that they had were like our fingernails. Perfectly form-fitting. Your fingernails fit your fingers perfectly. I remember now, it was grade 9 biology. We learned about grasshoppers. We learned that there's such a thing called an inner skeleton, which is our bones, and there's an outer skeleton, which insects have. So that insects, if they fall from a great height onto the ground, they don't get crushed like a human being would get crushed, because they have an outer skeleton called an exo. Exo means outer. Exoskeleton made of fingernails. It's called in English chiton. A chitinous exoskeleton. That was their clothing. Did they lose it? You saw they were naked. That means they didn't have their chitinous exoskeleton? I don't know. But the point he's making here is that it was the same as fingernails, and it came from the whiteness of the brain of Hashem, which is the tippy top level of the wisdom of God. This is Kabbalah. Page 59. They were the garments were made of nails. Where do they come from? From the highest level of the brain. It says here the cognitive faculty. What does cognitive mean? Anybody know? Want to Google it up? What does cognitive mean?
Well, cognition is thinking, no? Like
yes.
Yeah.
That which recognizes a thing and identifies it. So I call it the tippy top, the highest level of the intellect, where the lightning strikes. That's where it all comes from. And since that's where it came from in other Mauritians, so that's where it comes from in us. And that's where our life comes from our father, and from his father, and from his father, and his father. This, in my personal life, was a tremendous piece of information. Because when I was a little boy, I went to Sunday school, and they asked us if we were Yisraelim or Kohanim or Leviim. Well, we didn't know what these terms meant. And so they told us that the Jewish people are divided up into, we're a tripart people. There are three aspects of the Jewish people. There are Kohanim, these are the priests, and there are Leviim, who are also from the same family, but they're not priests, but they're helpers in the priestly work. They serve the priests. And then there's the Jewish people who are called Yisraelim, B'nai Yisrael, the children of Israel. Israel is our father. Yaakov had two names. One of them was Israel, Yisrael. So I went home and I asked my father. I was like 7 years old, maybe 8. Are we Kohanim? Are we Yisraelim? Are we Leviim? He said, we are Leviim. So that meant my father is a Levi, because I'm a Levi. You know, there's a cute story, we're going to close with this, about a guy comes to the rabbi and says, Rabbi, I want you to make me a Kohen. I want to be a Kohen. I see the Kohenim, they get a lot of respect in shul, and they call them up, and they bless everybody. I want to be a Kohen too. He said, well, I can't make you a Kohen. He says, Rabbi, I can make it worth your while, you know. Here's so you can pay him a lot of money. I'll make him a Kohen. He says, okay, I'll make you a Kohen. And he teaches him a lot of things. He says, okay, now you're a Kohen. But I'm curious, why did you want to be a Kohen? He says, my father was a Kohen, my grandfather was a Kohen, I also want to be a Kohen. And that's how it is that so in my personal life, that meant to me It's not written down in any book or any document that we had that we kept around the house. Or maybe it was. But in my family anyway, we were connected, and because we were the Levium, we were connected to the original. Who was the first Levi? Was the son of Yisrael, the son of Jacob. Was the son of Yitzchak, who was the son of Abraham. So that stayed with me. I was a little boy. I didn't understand the full significance. When I started to find out in my mid-20s about Torah and mitzvahs, that was a very powerful piece of information because it made me feel connected with the whole history of the Jewish people from the very beginning. And people criticized what I was doing or criticized the things that I was discovering and finding out about what Judaism was all about. And they criticized, and they said, well, you know, we have our rabbis now, they interpret things differently. I said, I can't go for that. I don't want any different interpretations, because maybe it's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You know what that means? Give the baby a bath, you throw out the bathwater, and you forgot the baby's in it. That's an expression. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You're going to start with new interpretations. You're going to throw out the whole tradition that says that I'm a Levi. I'm not giving that up. I'm not prepared to give that up. So if that means that I can't, that I have to keep Shabbos and kosher and holidays and tefillin and tzitzis and everything, and I have to learn Torah, okay, that's what comes with it. It's a package deal. There's 613 mitzvahs. We can't pick and choose that this one will do and this one we won't do. We said at Mount Sinai, what did we say at Mount Sinai? We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Okay. So that is the implications, ramifications of this fantastic piece of information, that the child is the thought of the father, the thought is father of the child. Have a great day. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Here, say hello.
Hi, guys. How are you? Thank you for the Zoom.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, girls.
Have a great day. Passing by the class when they're all there.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
I don't know, I feel so. I don't know.
Yeah. It's passing the classroom when everyone's in there.
Because everyone was like, who's there?
Yeah. Who's going to the bathroom?
Yeah. Why do they always sing that song so rarely?
Why did you always do it?
Yeah, they don't
Because I think it's on the Kasamak account for Cheshvan.
right.
That's
I
what
know, but
That's what I would say, but I don't know. But Rabbi Pape sings it, it's fun. Stats.
oh yeah, yeah. It's like Rabbi Pape sings it?
Is she still there?
Yes. So wear more clothes.
Do you want my jacket? It's not really warm because it's denim, but if you want to try it on, maybe it'll be warm.
Thank you, actually, yeah.
Oops. Of course.
What English? I have to be okay, let's go. Two of us is fine.
Yeah, two is here. Here.
Over.